Is the approval of the minutes for June 24, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Any amendments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we have a brief statement about rules and procedures. The applicant will provide a presentation about the needs for the variance for 5 minutes, and we have the ability to extend that if there is additional time needed. Staff will address any additional issues. There's a citizen comment period, which I don't believe we'll need tonight because I don't think there were any citizen comments, but that would be for 5 minutes. And then there would be an applicant rebuttal and questions from the board members. And after that, once we conclude that portion of the meeting, then there's no further input from the audience once the board starts its deliberations, unless the board should have a direct question for one of the participants. The next item is the item number 4. It's a special exemption application number SE 240000001 for a new communication tower. Also a variance application number VA 240000010. Duke Power Company is requesting a 20-foot increase to the 250-foot industrial agricultural height restriction for cell towers. TMS number is 137-00-01-001 with an address of 7805 Rochester Highway, Seneca, South Carolina, 29672. The reference section 32136. Would the applicant please come forward and state your name and position, please, for the record?
Thank you. I'm Sarah Sproul of Hainsworth Sinclair Boyd here on behalf of Duke Energy. We sent notebooks with the application materials. Does the board have those?
Yes.
You'll see there, they're extensive. Duke Energy is seeking to build a 310-foot, so it needs a 60-foot variance on the height. So it's seeking to build a 310-foot tower next to the Oconee nuclear site. You will see in there the current zoning is CFD. The parcel is just this parcel, not counting the adjacent nuclear facility parcel, is almost 160 acres. The fall zone for the proposed tower is contained wholly within this parcel. The height is needed based on where this sits and Duke's operations within Oconee County. The height's needed to support point-to-point communications due to the surrounding topography and the need for land mobile radio services. Duke's Energy looked around. There's nowhere that this can be co-located. Stealth design won't work for this application. However, they are looking to partner with the county. The county will have some emergency services equipment on this tower if the board approves the application. And the extraordinary and exceptional features of this are Duke Energy's use and its operations within the county. Between the nuclear plant and the transmission and distribution within the county, Duke needs this tower to stay current and to provide the services it provides within the county. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. It's in the best interest of the county for the reasons I just discussed. It's in the public interest for the reasons I just discussed. And there are no traffic or access issues because this is wholly contained within the Duke property. I have technical and public relations and other individuals here if the board has questions. Duke did a balloon test and received no comments. As far as we know, there is no community opposition to the project. I checked with the county. As far as I know, no one called the county with any questions about the project. Do y'all have any questions for me? Or if you have any technical questions, I've got a whole cast back here to help you
Can you
answer.
talk to the safety aspect of this a little bit more
Sure.
for the community and in whatever various ways it's going to make things safer?
Sure. So in addition to, I'm trying to decide if I want to do it or if I want to call up one of my engineers to do
It's your
it.
call.
Patrick, do you want to,
I think he's
Patrick, do
getting
you want to
nominated.
tell him?
My name is Patrick Bernier, Senior Project Manager with Duke Energy. We came before this board a little while ago for our Bag Creek Tower. So this is a very similar tower, right? We don't need the 360 foot that tower was. We need 300 foot. That's why we're asking for the variance for this one. So what this will do is similar to the Bag Creek Tower. It's going to increase the safety of line workers on storm recovery, day-to-day operations. We're working with the county to put their 911 system on it. We'll build the slab for them, and they'll come in and occupy that slab and have their vertical real estate for 911 services. So we think that's a win-win for the county. As far as safety of the site itself, this one, just like Bag Creek, it's designed to kind of fold in half in a storm event if it were to fail. It won't leave the property. It's not close to any of the property lines. So serves as basic communication for us. It'll also have some of the nuclear plants systems on it eventually. They're looking at their radio systems, and so it's just generally will be a very used and central piece of our network and communication systems.
Thanks.
Do you have any intention to open it up to the wireless carriers to improve service in the area?
We are open to that on all of our towers. AT&T is on the one at Bag Creek. If somebody were to come and we would lease vertical real estate, that's done through our, one of our sister companies that's Duke owned called PeakNet. But unless it's forbidden by y'all or your ordinances or anything like that, we can accommodate future carriers.
To your knowledge, nobody has approached you at this point?
To my knowledge, we
Access.
have no applications.
Anybody else have any?
I just want to compliment the presentation. It's the most thorough and that we've gotten, and I really appreciated it.
Well, this is a really important tower, and we wanted y'all to see what we wanted to do with one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Would anybody else care to speak on behalf of Duke's Tower, even though you may not have signed up? If not, then what would which the staff comments, James?
So we went through the entire application packet. It is complete, it is well done. Everything that's required is in there, so it is ready to be approved with your approval. The county doesn't have any objections to the placement of the tower.
Do we have any discussion on the part of the board? Before we start? Once we start our deliberations here and go through the questions that we answer, we go through a series of 4 different questions on each item, both for the special exemption and also for the variance. And what we will do, we'll treat those separately when we get to that point. So we'll start off first with the special exemption. It is in accordance with the comprehensive plan and consistent with the spirit, purposes, and the intent of the specific requirements of this chapter to include the definition and intent of the district in which the special exemption is being requested. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Any opposed? None opposed? Okay. Is in the best interest of the county, the convenience of the community, and the public welfare. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second?
Second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, nobody opposed. Okay. Number 3, is suitable for the property in question and designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be in harmony with and appropriate in appearance to the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Anybody opposed? None opposed? Carries. Item 4, is suitable in terms of effects on the highway traffic, parking, and safety with adequate access arrangements to protect streets, from undue congestion and hazards. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Motion carries. Okay, based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed special exemption be approved? Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on this? None? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Okay, you have your special exemption. Now for the variance. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Unanimous.
These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Very good. That carries. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous. Okay, based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved? Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Aye.
It's unanimous.
Unanimous, okay, carries, and you have your variance. So, thank you. Item 5. This is an application that was withdrawn from the 7/22/24 agenda. I'm going to read it for purposes of the record. Variance application VA 24-000011. Jim Anthony of Falls Park subdivision is seeking relief from the 100-foot minimum between a curve and intersecting road right-of-way. TMS 039-00-01-014 with an address of 105 Jocassee Landing Drive, Salem, South Carolina, 29676, reference section 26-3, parentheses E, parentheses 3. James, would you explain why this was withdrawn and still left on the agenda?
So this is one that we have actually had several calls about. The applicant, the developer, has changed engineers. They're now working with a new engineer. They believe that they can meet all the criteria of the roads for chapter 26 without a variance. So they have pulled it back. But because there was public interest in this, we wanted to leave it on, let people know that they had removed it. So it's there for clarity.
Okay, very good. Okay. If there any further questions?
Nothing to vote on.
Nothing to vote on, but do you have any questions of James? If not, then we'll move on to item 6. Variance application number VA 24-000012. Vin Mosier is requesting a 6-foot variance to the front setback. TMS 271-01-01-137 with an address of 34 Ulster Drive, Seneca, South Carolina, 29678, reference section 38-10.2. Will the applicant please come forward and identify? Please give your name and your position, please.
Sure thing. So first name is Devin, last name is Mosier. I'm a development manager with Core Spaces, the developer on the project that we're discussing here tonight. Thank you for your time.
Have the floor.
Thank you. I cleared out.
How much is it? Not playing to a very big audience.
Yeah, exactly. I think the press up front also left, so this won't make the
That's when the
papers.
room's full, you need to be.
Yeah. Not nearly as complicated as the tower. So, in essence, what occurred was, we built 207 new, detached student housing dwelling units on the existing property that's located at the same address, the same location. Of those 207 units that we built, one of them, the one that we have up here on the screen, 34 Ulster, we found when we did our survey, our closeout survey, we obviously surveyed everything that was as an as-built, and we found this one to be encroaching. You can see the dimensions here. You've got 19.6 and then 22.8. The reason for this, so obviously when we found this out, we self-reported and brought it up, to try to go through the proper channels. The reason this occurred is because that road above Ulster Drive has a curve radius to it, and so originally our survey that we used in order to set all the pins for our foundation points, our surveyor incorrectly, as it turns out, assumed that also curved with that radius, and in fact it doesn't. It's just a point-to-point linear line, and when that happens, that's where we get that 19.6 encroachment. Had it curved and followed the road, because that's the point of the, in our understanding, that was the point of the setback. It was 50 foot from the median of the road outwards. So that's how we arrived at this situation, was an incorrect surveyor's assumption that we then proceeded and got our permits through. So obviously, when we found it out, like I said, we wanted to come through the proper channels to correct it. So that's the purpose of tonight.
Board have any questions? Not, take your seat.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you. James?
Yeah, so there, I'm pulling up the map for you guys to look at. This is lot 34 right here. The other issue with this is Ulster Road, on this half of the road, is actually a 66-foot right-of-way. In that transition, it goes to 50 on the other side. So the 66 also catches up in here. It widens out at this point. Was not caught ahead of time. Like I said, they did report this to us to let us know on the final survey. So they've gone through all the proper steps. Everything else is ready for closeout out there, basically. And they're looking for some relief specific to this single unit. I can answer any specific questions about it.
Questions? Not then, let us proceed then with our questions here. Okay. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Motion carries. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Okay. Item 3, because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay, do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
4, the authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
It's unanimous.
Okay. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion on this? None? All in favor? Motion carries, you have your variance.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.